Good morning all. Hope you all are safe and healthy at your places. Myself Dr. Manjusha Goyal, associated with Department of Management Studies at Rajkumar Goyal Institute of Technology, Ghaziabad. Today my topic of discussion is measurement of elasticity of demand and income elasticity of demand from Unit 2 of Managerial Economics. So, let us start with today's lecture. Elasticity of demand. Elasticity of demand measure the degree of responsiveness of the quantity demanded of a commodity at a given change in any of the determinant of demand. It means elasticity of demand helps in measuring that what will be the percentage change in demand due to change in any of the determinant of demand. As we know, there are many determinant of demand like price of commodity, income of consumer, price of related commodities like your substitutes or complementary goods, advertisement, taste, preference, population and so on. With the help of elasticity of demand, we are able to calculate that what will be the impact of these components or determinant on demand, by how much percentage demand will increase or decrease, or it will change due to change in any of the determinant of demand. As it is written here also that responsiveness of a commodity is the amount by which its quantity demanded changes in response to a given change in any of the determinant of demand. On the basis of determinant of demand or the variable that affect the demand, the elasticity of demand is of the following types. The major types of the elasticity are 4, like your price elasticity, income elasticity, cross elasticity and advertisement elasticity of demand. In today's lecture, we will discuss the concept of income elasticity of demand. Income elasticity of demand. The income elasticity of demand measure how the changes in a consumer income affect the demand for a specific product. It means what will be the impact of change in income on change in demand, whether it will move in positive direction or it will move in the opposite direction. So, with the help of income elasticity, we are able to calculate that. Income elasticity of demand measure mathematically as follows, that EY is equal to delta Q upon delta Y into Y upon Q. In economics, income is denoted by the concept Y. In economics, income is denoted by the symbol Y, that is delta Y. Okay. So, here we say that the formula will be percentage change in quantity demanded by percentage change in price. Here delta Q will be equal to again Q1 minus Q0. Delta Y is the difference between Y1 minus Y0. Q1 is the new quantity and Q0 will be the old quantity. In the same way, your Y1 will be your new income and Y0 will be your old income. So, with the help of these data, we are able to calculate income elasticity, that is EY. Make it more clear with the help of an example. The initial income of a person is rupees 2000. That means your Y0 will be 2000. And the quantity demanded for the commodity by him is rupees 20 unit. It means Q0 will be 20 units. When his income increases to rupees 3000, that means your Y1 will become 3000. Quantity demanded by him also increases to rupees 40 units. That means your Q1 will become 40 units. So, with the help of this data, we calculate the income elasticity. Here we have already written that Q is 20 units. So, delta Q is 40 minus 20, that is 40 minus 20, as we have already discussed that it is Q1 minus Q0, that comes out to be 20 units. Then Y is 2000, then delta Y is calculated with the help of 3000 minus 2000, that is 3000 minus 2000 comes out to be 1000. We keep it in the formula 20 divided by 1000, delta Q 20 divided by 1000 into Y upon Q 2000 divided by 20, that comes out to be 2%. So, hence an increase of rupees 1000 in an income, that is 1% in income leads to rise in 2% increase in quantity demanded. So, with the help of income elasticity, we are able to calculate that if our income changes by 1%, our quantity demanded will be changed by 2%. If it will change by 10%, then the quantity demanded will be changed by 20%. That is the impact of income on quantity demanded. But it is not same in all the cases. So, to explain that, we have different type of income elasticity. We have three type of income elasticity: positive income elasticity, zero income elasticity and negative income elasticity. We will discuss these one by one. First, we will discuss positive income elasticity. If there is a direct relationship between income of the consumer and demand for the commodity, then income elasticity will be positive. It means with the increase in income, if quantity demanded will increase, then we will say that income elasticity will be positive. So, but it is further classified, means we cannot say that how much your quantity demanded will increase with the increase in income. So, to clarify it more, we will have three type of elasticity in positive income elasticity, that is EP will be greater than 1, equal to 1 and less than 1. So, when income elasticity greater than unit, what it means? It means when the percentage change in quantity demanded is more than percentage change in income, then your EP will be more than 1. For example, if your income increases by 10%, then your demand will change by more than 10%, or it can be 15%, it can be 20%, it can be any number, but it should be more than 10%. Then in that case, your income elasticity will be more than 1. Normally, the example of income elasticity greater than unity will be the luxury commodities, the luxury goods, those goods which provide you the comfort, and the graph for this type of elasticity will be on x axis when you have the quantity demanded, and on y axis you have income. So, in that case, if your income increases, so the quantity demanded will increase by more, means if your quantity and income is like this. So, if income increases from y to y1, your quantity will be q2 q1, and you can see that the percentage change in between y to y1 is less as compared to q2 q1, means the quantity demanded will be more as compared to change in income. This is the graph for the income elasticity greater than unit. Then comes the second type, that is income elasticity equal to unit. In this case, the percentage change in quantity demanded will be equal to percentage change in price. It means if the income will increase by 10%, then the quantity demanded will also change by 10%. The proportionate change will be same. This is the condition of normally the normal goods like your clothes, your fruits. In that case, you can change your demand as per the change in income. If income is high, you will go for the more of fruits and more variety of cloths. If income is less, you will reduce your consumption of fruits as well as you will reduce the uses of the cloth as compared to the earlier one. So, in that case, the percentage change will be same, and the graph will be like for EV equal to 1, that is again on x axis we have the quantity, on y axis we have income. So, if income is y here and quantity is q, so whatever be the percentage change in income, the quantity demanded will be in the same percentage. So, your demand will be like this, means the percentage change will be same in the EY equal to 1. Whatever be the percentage change in income that is plotted on the graph, it will be same as quantity. So, difference will be same, you can point out with the help of this graph. Then the third type of income elasticity is less than unit, where the percentage change in quantity demanded is less than percentage change in income. For example, if your income will increase by 10%, your demand will change less than 10%. It can be 4, it can be 5, up to any extent, but it should be less than 10. So, normally the example of this commodity is necessary goods, where you won't change the consumption of the necessary goods even if your income increases. Like for example, if you will take the salt, if the salt is sold for free, even though no one is start consuming it more. So, that is an example of the necessity. So, even if the income increases, the consumption of these goods will not increase. So, it will be your less than 1, or you can say it is equal to 1. Okay. Then comes the third type, that is income elasticity less than unit, where the percentage change will be less and the graph will be, in that case, same. On x axis we have quantity, on y axis we have income, so initially if it is y and q and income increases from y to y1, the quantity demanded will increase to q to q1, but the percentage change, the difference between the graph, you can easily find out that it is less. The gap between q and q1 is less as compared to y to y1. So, this is the graph for income elasticity less than unit, where EP will be less than 1. That means the proportionate change in quantity demanded is less than proportionate change in income. So, these are the type of positive income elasticity. In all these cases, the demand will increase with the increase in income, but the percentage change will be different. In case of more than unit, the percentage change will be more. In case of equal to unit, the percentage change will be equal than income. In case of less than unit, percentage change will be less than percentage change in income. Then comes the second type of income elasticity, that is negative income elasticity. In case of negative income elasticity, if there is an inverse relationship between income of a consumer and demand for the commodity, then income elasticity will be negative. And negative income elasticity is only with inferior goods. Inferior goods are those goods which are of low quality and for which better substitutes are available in the market. So, when income of a consumer will increase, the customer will shift to a better quality product which are available in the market. Like for example, the example of inferior goods are your bajra, coarse cloth. So, if income increases, the customer will shift from bajra to wheat, which is a better substitute, which is a quality product. Same case of coarse cloth, the customer will shift to fine cloths. So, that is again a better product available as compared to inferior goods. So, in case of inferior goods, the income elasticity will be negative. As income increases, demand for these commodities will be decreased due to better substitute available in the market. And in this case, your graph will be downward sloping as the income increases, demand decreases. Means if income increases to y1, your demand will decrease from Q to Q1. This is the graph. So, it means we are having a downward sloping demand curve in case of negative income elasticity, in case of inferior goods. Then comes your zero income elasticity. This is the third type of income elasticity we are having. If the quantity demanded for a commodity remain constant with any rise or fall in income of the consumer, then it is said to have a zero income elasticity of demand. For example, in case of basic necessities like your salt, kerosene, there is a zero elasticity. It means your demand does not change with the change in income. It will remain same, whatever be the income, whether it increase or decrease, your demand will remain same. And the graph for zero income elasticity will be parallel or the straight line to, which is parallel to y axis. As we can say that your quantity will be same, only your income will increase or decrease to any extent, but your demand will remain same. So, this is the graph for your zero income elasticity. So, with the help of these graphs, we are able to understand the difference between the three type of elasticity: positive income elasticity, negative income elasticity and zero income elasticity. Then comes the concept, that is measurement of elasticity. We are having four methods which are used for measuring elasticity of demand: percentage method, point method, arc method and total outlay method. We will discuss these one by one. First, we will start with the percentage method. The price elasticity of demand is measured by its coefficient, that is EP. EP is the coefficient. This coefficient measure the percentage change in the quantity of a commodity demanded resulting from a given percentage change in its price. It means in percentage method we will calculate the percentage change in price due to change in percentage change in demand due to change in price. Percentage method is also known as ratio method. In this, we are comparing the ratio of the percentage change in quantity demanded to the percentage change in price. In this method, we make a comparison of two quite different variable. The one variable is the measurement of physical units, that is demand, and the other variable is measurement of monetary units, change in monetary units, that is money. So, in ratio method we will take two qualitatively different variables, that is demand and price, and we calculate the EP with the help of a formula, and that formula is your delta Q upon delta P into P upon Q. Here delta Q will be your Q2 minus Q1 and delta P will be P2 minus P1. Q2 is the new quantity, Q1 is old quantity. Same, P2 will be new price and P1 will be old price. Now, if we will take an example, like suppose we will take the example of, we will take that Q1 is your 800 units and Q2 will be suppose 1000 units. Then we will take P1 as 10 rupees, P2 as rupees 8. So, if we will calculate the elasticity with the help of this data, so EP will be your delta Q upon delta P into P upon Q. So, here delta Q will be your 200 divided by 2 into 10 divided by 800, that comes out to be it's 1.25. That means that if there is a 1% change in the price, demand will changes by 1.25%. Here we ignore the negative signs, because when we are calculating price elasticity of demand, we will ignore the negative sign in that. So, we are just seeing the answer, that is 1 point elasticity will be 1.25. So, that is this is the percentage method, where we are taking the formula of delta Q upon delta P into P upon Q. Now, next come to the second method, that is your point method. Point method is given by Professor Marshall. He devised a geometrical method for measuring elasticity at a point on the demand curve. This method is helpful for calculating the elasticity at different point on the demand curve, as we can see on this graph also. And the formula for calculating the point method, that is EP will be lower segment on the demand curve divided by upper segment on the demand curve. This is the formula for calculating EP in point method. Here we can see that the demand points on the elasticity on a demand curve will be different, as we can see that EP will be 0 at point Q. It means EP will be 0 where your demand curve intersect horizontally. Then at that point your EP will be 0, that is the point Q. EP will be infinite at point L, That means it will be infinite at the point where demand curve intersect vertical axis, that is point L, where EP will be infinite. It will be equal to 1 in the middle of the demand curve, that is the point N, where your EP will be 1. It will be less than 1 in the lower segment of demand curve, which is shown here on the demand curve, that is point P. So, point P is where your EP will be less than 1. It will be more than 1 in the upper segment of demand curve, that is the point M, where we can see that EP is more than 1. So, we can see that at the single demand curve, that is DC, we have different point of elasticity at a different point. It will be less than 1, more than 1, equal to 1, infinite and 0. So, this is the point method at which we can calculate the elasticity at a different point on a single demand curve. Then comes the third type or the third method of elasticity of demand, that is the arc method. In arc method, it is in the word of Professor Baumol, arc elasticity is a measure of average responsiveness to price change exhibited by a demand curve over some finite stretches of the curve. Basically, in arc method, the elasticity is calculated for the points which are very far from each other. In arc method, we will take the midpoint of both the points for price and quantity. We will take the average average of both the data of price and quantity. So, in arc method, we will draw the arc and we will calculate the average of both the points, and the formula in arc method for calculating elasticity is delta Q upon delta P into P1 plus P2 divided by Q1 plus Q2, means we will take the average of both the point, the new price and the old price, as well as the new quantity and the old quantity. By taking the average, we will take we will calculate the elasticity of demand. Arc is the portion in between the two curves, like this is the point P and P1. This P and P1 is the arc which measure elasticity between the 2 points, that is pointed over here. So, in arc method, we will take the arc and we will measure the elasticity in between these 2 points P and P1. The next method for calculating elasticity of demand is total outlay method. Total outlay method is also known as the total expenditure method or your total revenue method. This method is given by the Marshall. He says that by comparing the total expenditure of a purchaser both before and after the change in price, it can be known whether the demand for a commodity is elastic, unitary elastic or less than elastic. Means this method helps a seller to decide the price whether to increase the price or not, because if by changing the price their total revenue will increase or decrease, on that their price decision matters. For calculating the total expenditure, we have a formula that price into quantity. For calculating total outlay, we multiply the price by quantity. In this method, by opting this method, if the revenue will increase due to decrease in price, then we says that the elasticity will be more than 1, means unitary, more than unit, because your total revenue will increase by decrease in price. But if your total revenue will decrease by decrease in price or increase by increased price, in that case your EP will be less than 1, means it is less than 1, and normally it will happen in case of the necessities. But if the total outlay will be same due to increase or decrease in price, then in that case your elasticity will be unitary elastic. It means it will be equal to 1, it does not change. So, we can say that in total outlay method, if your output or the total revenue will increase with the decrease in price, then elasticity will be greater than 1. If it decrease with the decrease in price, then elasticity will be less than 1, and if it will be equal to 1 means it does not change with the change in price, then it will be equal to 1, and more than 1 will be in case of durable goods, less than 1 will be normally in case of necessities, and equal to 1 will be in case of normal goods. That is all for today's. We have a brief recap of today's lecture. That we will discuss about elasticity of demand, then we will discuss about the income elasticity, methods of measurement of elasticity like your percentage method, income, your arc method, total outlay method and point method. I hope these concepts are clear to you. Thank you from my side.